Hey YouTube, Mike, that Tankless guy here. How are we all doing today? Hope we all had a safe and productive week. Alright, today is part 2 of the Navien series of their non-condensing units, their NPN unit. We have the exterior, that's the one that we featured last week when we did a review, an overview, excuse me, on the actual unit. And today we are going to go through a few installs. All right, what you see here is a typical install that you would find, or what you would be doing on an exterior of a home. Remember, this unit here is their exterior. Their U, which we'll be doing in the future, will be their interior unit, but also could be used for exterior, but we'll touch on that when we be doing that video. All right, so basically what we have here is we have a valve kit, which you do have to purchase separately. The unit does not come with a valve kit, but remember, it does come with a separate control. It comes with a controller that you can be put in the inside. There's a controller, as you remember from the other video, there's a controller right behind the front panel here, but there's a separate controller, remote controller, that you could put inside the home, which I highly recommend. So we have a valve kit, cold water, hot water. I highly recommend putting a valve kit on. If you don't, you're just going to do damage or just not justice to your customer. That's when you have to go back to service it. So you have your cold water and you have your hot water. So you have a typical cold water in and your hot water out with your relief pipe. Now, for video purposes, the unit is now on higher on my prop, just so you can see the piping. I don't recommend hanging a unit. I recommend hanging that unit like basically eye level or maybe a tad above down. So if you're roughing a house in, most of this you're going to find on new homes throughout the country is they put the tanklesses on the outside of the house. Not like where you find your water heater, which has to go inside, but that's where you're going to find these units on the outside of a house on a lot of installations. Unless you're retrofitting, taking a tank out of a garage or a utility room or a mechanical room and putting a tankless, a Navien inside and venting it out. So again, cold water in, hot water out, relief pipe, and then your typical gas. Now, what you see here for the gas is going to be your low pressure, your inches. We're going to go into what you would do if you're going to have a 2-pound system. All right, so you have your gas feed coming in. You're going to have a service valve. I like to use these full flow gas flexes. It's called Easy Flex. It's full 3/4 inch. It acts as your union. So there is your 2 ends. It acts as your union. And then I like to put an elbow into your T and then your nipple and cap. And that would be your typical gas install. Now, let's just say you have a 2-pound system. Well, let's go into this first. Say you're going to find 1/2 inch coming out of the wall. So you have a 1/2 inch line coming out of the wall. The unit will work with 1/2 inch. And why won't my nipple? There we go. The unit will work if you pipe it in 1/2 inch. I do not recommend it. What I recommend to do is to take, so this is coming out of the wall, put a 3/4 by 1/2 elbow and coupling on it, however it's facing. Then put your nipple and valve. So basically, you're going to make this into a 3/4 by 1/2 elbow and make this 3/4 going into the unit. Now, I can provide you with a list of what you would need so that you can keep it in your truck or keep it on your shop. We keep quite a few of these in stock. These are 18-inch, and this one here is 30-inch. And I'm going to go into why we keep this 30 in a minute, because this is very important. Yes, it will reach a gas line that's further away, but there's a reason we keep this 30, and I'll go over that in a minute. So, just increase the gas line to 3/4. So you have some volume going up into the unit, okay? All right, now, let's say you have a 2-pound system coming in. So there's 2 units on a house. You might have, if we're looking at the house, say this is the house, all right? You have a gas meter and a tankless on the left, and then you have this unit all the way on the right. When you roughed the house in, you ran a 3/4 gas line throughout the house to the other side, and that gas line is 2 pounds. All right, so we'll go over that right now. So let's take this apart, because this is important. This, an inches line, you know, with this 18-inch piece, your T, your nipple, your cap, will be more than sufficient to operate, even if you had 1/2 inch coming out of the wall. But say you had a 2-pound system, or you've gone to a job where the tankless is having a problem, it's laboring, and somebody put the regulator on, or maybe not, didn't even put it on. Now, I recommend, now I don't have a 3/4 one. We're having a very hard time getting these regulators. These are Pietro Florentine. We use 1/2 and 3/4 with the black spring. So that's the 1/2 inch one. And this is what it would look like. Exactly how you would put it on the outside of the house. It's got the rain cap where you would unscrew this if it was inside, and you would put the vent limiter. But since it's outside, you're going to use this rain cap. It's adjustable. It's good from 8 to 14 inches of water column, and a 3/4 would handle about 1,000,000 BTUs. So this is the regulator that I would recommend, but I'm going to use a different one because it's the only 3/4 one that I have, and it's a Maxitrol, which is a very good regulator. That's the vent limiter that you would find for putting it inside of a structure. Again, it's good for about the same rating, your adjustments on them all. And then you got to watch, and as you could see, we always put an additional arrow on the unit so that we know the flow of direction, because that's very important, is to put this in. So now, say you have a 2-pound system coming into the house over here. Now, I'm going to, hold on. I shorted myself something. Sorry about that. So you have a 2-pound system coming in. So what you want to do is you want to put your regulator, again, arrow. The arrow is going up towards the appliance or the unit. Now, this is for video purposes. You're going to try to do this as professional and as neat as possible, or like my father always said, do it like you're going to do it in your own home. So here's your regulator. Now, the reason we carry these longer ones is you want at least 3 feet from the regulator to the appliance to prevent regulator lockup. Now, remember, this ain't going to look pretty, but it's for video purposes only. So that's how it's going to look. Now, of course, it's not going to be going out that far. And if you got that 2-pound system, rough the gas line in where you're going to have enough room to get that footage. All right? Now, of course, this would be shorter. The valve would be here, and there would be a nipple and elbow coming up, and then your nipple and cap. But you want to have that footage from the regulator, okay? I know it's not pretty, but you get the idea. So if you're roughing a house in, you're doing the gas, you're doing the plumbing, you're going to come back later to hang the tankless. You know, rough this in so that you're like down here. We can actually do it quick. Make it try to look a little prettier. And of course that screw got stuck in here. So they can go on the vertical if you have to. Let me grab that other rack a second. So you can put them on the horizontal, you can put them on the vertical. You can't put them upside down, you can't put them left or right, you can't put them on an angle. So vertical and horizontal. That's it. And then your 3 foot. So just rough everything in, make this nice and neat. Remember that flex you can bend. So it gives you an idea. You want to put your service valve on the inlet side of the regulator, because if you have a problem with the regulator, you can shut down and service the unit. Okay? All right, now, insulating. I don't care where you are. We're here in Florida. We insulate our pipe. Everything outside, when we do a tankless, we replace a tankless, we insulate with the 1/2-inch foam insulation. We buy them in the case. They're 6 foot tall, and this is what we use to insulate our pipe. We go right up, make a nice little cut, back to the wall. When we come out of the wall, we use the scutcheons with cork, cork them in and make it a nice clean hole. So that's what we use to insulate our pipe. I don't care where you are. Like I said, we're in Florida and we we insulate everything. Now, a lot of times you might have to wire this thing. The electrician could have left you a box somewhere here. If you're going to do a box, so you say he left you wiring, say he left you a 15 amp circuit, it's got to be grounded. Remember, this thing has to be grounded, and we're going to get into that. I use these Bell outdoor boxes and these Timac heavy duty in-use covers. I like to plug my exterior tanklesses in. Now, when you get an interior tankless, there's going to be a whip that you're going to plug in. It's already pre-assembled. But in an outdoor tankless, I like to plug them in. I buy these Husky, they're 8 foot long. They're good for 13 amps, 125 volts. And they come they have the ends already on it. Now, and as you can see, you got your hot, your neutral, and your ground. Now, 8 foot is long, so I end up cutting these. But coming out of the bottom of the unit, let me zoom this in. There we go. New camera and new tripod. So coming out of the bottom of the unit is this box. Now we're going to get into a video just on wiring. There's 2 screws and like almost like a little catch over here, so that this will hold this up when you get the screws back. You have your 3 wires. Again, they look very thin, but they're 110 volts. And then you have a 1/2 inch knockout for the actual connector. And you're going to remove that box. There we go. You're going to remove that box, take it down, put your connector, put your wire in it, make your connections. It'll fit with the 3 wire nuts without a problem. Get it back in the clip, the 2 screws. Now you have a lead to plug the unit in. Now, why do I like plugging my units in? Now, in most states, I know here in Florida and in New York, and I was Connecticut, I had licenses there. A disconnect is like some type of switch or a knife switch, a pull knife switch, or a plug. A plug is considered a disconnect. You have to have a disconnect on an appliance like this. But why do I like a plug? Well, here's 2 reasons. The first reason, which is pretty much the most important, is that, and what I'm going to say to you, our last hurricane a few years ago, I had 32 PC boards blow on tankless heaters because they left the plug in. They lost power. So you had no hot water. You had no lights. Well, they left it plugged in, the tankless. It didn't matter if it was an inside or an outside. Tree came down, took down poles, transformers, wires. The linesmen come in, replace everything. When they turn the power back on, you get a surge. That microscopic surge can blow the PC board. Now, this has a fuse inside, and I haven't had the experience with the Navien yet, but I could tell you with the Rinnai tankless heaters, we had 30 plus boards blow because they were plugged in. So that's when I finish my job, I tell my customer, if you have a sustained power outage, a storm, unplug the tankless. It's not going to work anyway. So when the lights come back on in your house, go downstairs and plug your tankless in, or go outside and plug your tankless in. I tell them to wrap the plug end in a plastic bag so water doesn't get on it. Tuck it up behind, in the piping here. Zip tie it, little piece of tape, whatever. The second reason, and this happened in my own house, I got an outdoor tankless. I did a beautiful installation. I hard piped it in with the seal tight. I put a switch. Nice and nice. Got a storm. I have a generator. I have a big portable generator. Matter of fact, it's right there. I'm staring at it. And I put it on my truck when we need it, or I bring it to my house. So that when the storm is done, I bring it outside. I have a couple of extension cords with quad plugs. I need my refrigerator. I need my coffee maker. I need to charge up my Milwaukee batteries because that's what we use for light or fan. But my tankless is hardwired. So my son is out there unwiring it and putting in a pigtail because I can't plug it into my generator. Now, if I had a house generator, when the generator kicks in, it'll power the tankless. But I don't have a house generator. I have a big, massive portable one. So now that's why another reason. I tell my customers, if you have a generator, now you can start up your generator, let it run for a couple of minutes, then plug your tank. Because you don't want to start the generator up with the tankless plugged in. I know there's inverters on them, but let's play it safe. These PC boards they're delicate. So I tell them to start up the generator, let it run for a couple of minutes, then plug it in. Now you got hot water. And then unplug it when you're done with the family shower. And now you're Now you can unplug it. So that's another reason that I like to have these plugged in. And I don't know about every single state, but I can pretty much say that every state does the same thing. You need a disconnect, and a plug is considered a disconnect. But check your local code just to make sure. Okay? So, again, if it's inches, you have your valve, you have your short lead up into an elbow, to your T, to your nipple and cap, your drip leg. And try to make this like a 4-inch nipple. Don't put a close nipple. I know we don't have manufactured gas anymore, and that was one of the main reasons, because there was moisture in it. You could get dirt and sediment. It was called a dirt pocket or a drip leg. And years ago, with boilers and water heaters, they were lower to the ground. We used to have to bring them all the way down to the floor, and they were used as a leg, a support for the gas valve or the unit control on the water heater. Then people's basements or garages, they got wet, the caps got rusty, and they started to leak. So they said, no, okay, get them up and try to get at least a long nipple. But you want to try to put at least a 4, if not a 6-inch nipple in, just to have it. And you want it right near the appliance. Down there, it can do the same thing, but you want it before it enters the appliance. Okay? Valve kit, and a good valve kit too. Not a $30 valve kit. A $30 valve kit, when you go back the next year, it may not either shut or break in the closed position or break in the open position, or the handle just shatters off and leaks water all over the place. So good valve kit, about $180, $90 is a good, decent valve kit. Stainless steel interior. Got your service ports, relief valve with your pipe down to the ground. If it's an inside one, you want to drill it outside the house in case it lets go. If it's in a garage, you can get away with it, on the garage floor. And then if it's a 2-pound system, you need that regulator at least 36 inches away from the unit. 30 inches, 28 inches, it'll work. If it's closer, what's going to happen is that regulator is not going to operate correctly. And even though these things are rated between like 150 and 199, the air mixture still opens. You still get that same air in, and because you're not getting that right amount of gas, the burner's not going to work correctly. All right? There's a lot more to it. There's a bit of science to it, but if you remember, on most appliances, 36 inches away, generators are like 6 feet. And some of the bigger generators, like I did a generator, I had to put it 12 feet away. Okay? So, alrighty. Oh, let's go over the filter. Let me show you the filter on this. I forgot last week to show you the filter. Now, my filter removal tool will not fit this because it's a different type of inside, and I'll show you once I get the filter out. But I like this filter. It's much larger. The actual, and yes, that is water from Korea. So here is the filter. See, it's got a cross inside of it instead of a single bar. It's non-removable. You cannot remove this filter. All right, so you can clean this filter with a brush inside, rinse it off. You're doing your service. Just have your bucket of solution, muck it up in a bucket of solution. But this filter you're going to have to leave in when you service these units because they're non-removable. But that's the filter. Pretty much like almost the same, but the actual lock-in piece is a little bit bigger. It does have a cross. I'm going to look into see if I can manufacture something that would fit inside of this to remove the filter like on the filter tool that I have. Oh, yes, there is an O-ring right here on the filter. There is an O-ring, but it's pretty locked in there. It's not up front here. It's over here on the back side where the actual nut is. So the chances of it locking in, the interior, it is a little longer than the normal water, than the other water inlets. And it's in a pretty nice position to get everything back in there. And that's it. Alrighty. Okay, for those of you that have been messaging me about the filter removal tools, I had a machinist that was going to make them, and I don't know, he's dragging his feet. So I'm at his mercy for him to make me another couple of hundred, and I will let you know. So if you want one, just message me. I'll message you back. I'm keeping you on a list, and then when I get them in, I'll message you back. All right? All right, my email will be below. So if you have a question, email me, and if need be, I'll talk to you. And again, thank you for everyone for all those fabulous comments. And I greatly appreciate all of the subscribes, the likes, the comments, the questions. Just keep them coming, and I'll answer everything I can. All right, YouTube? You all be safe out there and enjoy that endless hot water. Bye-bye now.